New ships announced, online fraud prompts new security measures, and a rock slide leaves passengers stranded. Ahoy travelers, it's Amy here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. Undoubtedly, one of the biggest stories of the week has to be the new mega ships Carnival announced that they now have on order. And I have thoughts about this, so we're going to leave that story until the end. So first off, after the sad but completely preventable story of a Carnival guest having their cruise stolen or canceled out from underneath them when they posted their booking information on social media, Carnival has decided to update its online security and is now requiring more information when accessing booking details to be able to make significant changes to that reservation. Previously, guests could access their booking information with just a last name and a booking number. Now they're going to also need their sail date, ship name, and a passenger's date of birth. Now, do you think this will prevent someone from being able to steal a cruise like they did one guest who found out her cruise on board the Celebration had been canceled one day prior to embarkation? Not necessarily. Not if they do what Tiffany Banks did when she posted her booking ID and cabin number to social media. And it wasn't just any cabin either, but the presidential suite. Now, I've heard both that Banks had her cruise canceled and that someone had the reservation moved into their name, but either way, it was a hard lesson to learn, I'm sure. Now, the problem is that it would still be possible, even with these new measures, to access someone's cruise information if they post a booking number onto social media. It really isn't that hard, and you don't have to be a hacker to do it, to find out a person's date of birth. Most people have their date of birth posted on Facebook. And if they don't, there's probably a social media post out there telling them happy birthday and even like happy 30th birthday. So you can find out the day and year of birth. If someone is going to be naive enough to post a booking number, they have undoubtedly posted the ship and sail date as well. So if that's not enough, what could Carnival do to provide even more security? Now, some cruise lines require two-factor authentication codes, responses to text messages, where we're going to send you a text message or an email, give us the code, answers to security questions, other verification measures like PIN numbers. Any of these would be helpful. As a safety measure, most people used to refrain from posting about their vacations until they got back from the vacation. You didn't want people to know that your house was sitting there empty for a week. Those days seem to be over. If you are going to post about your travels, be careful to keep as much information private as possible. Definitely don't be posting any booking information or what hotel you're at or anything like that. The more general you can post, the better. Hey, I'm in the Caribbean. Do you wait to post that you have been on vacation until after you are back home? Or do you like to keep all your friends, family, and followers up to date on all the adventures you're currently having? Let me know. In a recent video, I discussed how Alaska is a bucket list cruise destination, but a rock slide caused around 150 guests to be stranded while on a cruise excursion. On Tuesday, passengers from two Carnival Corporation lines, Princess and Holland America, were stranded in Canada while sightseeing on the famous White Pass and Yukon Route Railway. Man, how many times have I tried to say Route Railway? Not easy to do. Not for me anyway. Anyway, they were stranded when a rock slide covered the tracks around 50 miles from Fraser, British Columbia. With the tracks under tons of rock, the train was not getting back to the port in Skagway anytime soon. So both ships were forced to leave their passengers behind. Now, thankfully, Carnival Corporation did not abandon their guests. They were loaded up on 4 large Holland America tour buses and made a 7-hour commute to Haines, Alaska. Around 4 in the morning, the passengers were loaded up on tender boats and taken to their respective ships. Now, riding on a bus overnight probably wasn't on anyone's bucket list for their Alaskan cruise, but I'm sure most of them were thankful that they were able to get back to their cruise without losing any real time out of their vacation. Just probably a good night's sleep. Now, if you're enjoying this channel, please do us a favor and like and comment on our videos. While I love people who subscribe and join our growing community, thank you guys very much. Those likes and comments tell YouTube that our videos are hitting the mark. That means that more people will see our content. Now, one of the biggest stories of the week has definitely been the announcement by Carnival that they have 3 new ships on order, and these ships will be an all-new class of mega ship. At nearly 230,000 gross registered tons and carrying almost 8,000 guests at full capacity, these will be among the biggest cruise ships on the water. Carnival is working with Fincantieri Shipyard to build these new LNG-powered ships to come out in 2029, 2031, and 2033. Now, for comparison, Royal Caribbean, long known for having the largest cruise ships, will find itself with a strong competitor for that title if they don't have plans for something bigger than the Icon of the Seas. And the Icon comes in at 251,000 tons with space for 7,293 passengers. Now, while the Icon is still bigger in gross tonnage, it holds fewer guests than these new mega ships. And until Carnival's new ship design comes out, we're not going to be able to compare the actual size of the ships, just the tonnage. Carnival's XL class ships, their largest ships currently, are 183,000 gross tons and hold under 6,500 passengers. Now, this makes Carnival's mega ships over 7% larger than the XL class. These mega ships will join the 2 XL class ships already on order for 2027 and 28. Meanwhile, Carnival is still planning on transferring some ships from the sister brands between 23 and 25, and we've already seen 2 Costa ships switch livery to Carnival, the Luminosa and Venezia. Now, all of these new ships come after Carnival made that unique decision to temporarily put new ship builds on hold after the shutdown. Carnival CEO Josh Weinstein has stated the line is taking a disciplined approach to growth. But boy, this seems like we're really getting on the growth wagon here. What do you think Carnival will call their new class of ships? Or maybe I should ask you what you think they should call them. As expected, the news of even bigger ships has seen some mixed reviews among loyal Carnival cruisers. While many are excited for newer, bigger ships that will offer Carnival guests even more venues and excitement, others are rightly concerned that bigger and bigger ships mean the old favorites will die out, never to be seen again. And Carnival brand ambassador John Heald addressed this in a recent post. Said many hoped that we would build more Spirit class ships. At this time, we are not, and while I am not a beard, and that's what he calls the head honchos over in Carnival, I can and I think safely say it is doubtful we ever would. That's a big blow to some people. So for all of those who were hoping that one day Carnival would build some smaller ships to replace those Spirit and Conquest ships as they get older and are retired, it doesn't look like that's ever going to happen. Now, Mr. Hill went on to explain why. He says, along with these bigger ships being profitable, there is a thirst for cruising with Carnival from new cruisers. And these blue carders, that's first-time Carnival cruisers, want big ships. They want all the bells and whistles. And we need new cruisers. Of course we do. And we need to make all of you shareholders smile again. It's just not profitable for a budget line like Carnival to continue with smaller ships. At least not enough to build new ones. I mean, they're fine with the ones that are already paid for, but to build new ones, it's just not that economical. These mega ships are expensive to build, but they recoup their money faster and then will make the lines more money in the long run. So despite the fact that Carnival knows smaller ships are still very popular with cruisers, they're not going to go backwards. I think many were hoping that as these smaller ships got older, the line would be forced to replace them, since some cruise ports just cannot fit these huge mega ships. I think you're going to find that either Carnival doesn't visit ports that can't fit these larger ships, as most are a smaller destination that Carnival just doesn't go to anyway, or the ports are building new terminals, digging deeper trenches, whatever is needed to accommodate these larger ships. Now, I don't know that Mr. Heald's solution for those who prefer smaller ships is very reassuring. The Spirit class remains massively popular, and we are spending a big dollop of money on them when they are in dry dock, as those who have cruised on Carnival Pride and Carnival Legend recently will have seen. And we will continue to do so for the other ships in that class as well as other ships in the fleet too. And let's not forget Carnival Paradise and Carnival Elation. I have no idea how long they will be around for, and one day they will be retired. just like me, but until that day, they all continue to represent one of the most popular classes of ships the cruise industry has ever known. Now, of course, this didn't stop with just one post. John Heald addressed one commenter who said, "Hey, read the comments. Everyone age 60 plus hates the megaships." Now, once again, I beg people to stop using blanket statements like everyone. People need to speak for themselves because I guarantee you that not everyone over 60 agrees with this person. The complaint continues. "This is why you never see people of my age on the Carnival Mardi Gras or other ships of that size. Even Conquest and Horizon are too big. For us, the Spirit class is what we choose. Know your customer." Now, I have been on recently the Jubilee, and there was a lot of people that were Diamond and Platinum that were well over 60. A lot of people. So Mr. Heald responded with this gem. "Well, I've answered in the last 3 days almost 1,500 questions, so I'm a little bit tired and probably shouldn't jump to the bait here. But I've got to say that I think, and I say respectfully, I think this is total and utter nonsense." Now, I agree it is utter nonsense. Everyone feels this way, but I can guarantee some do. So let's check out some of the comments. One lady said, "The Spirit class allows something the XL ships can't provide, the interaction between the crew, officers, and guests. I'm sure there's no way to quantify it, but it is the most personable size ship where crew become family." So I won't rank it up there in the number of options available for dining, but it will rank in top service and quality of the dining experience. There's a class of ship for everyone. I just don't want to see the Spirit class ship leave the fleet because they are truly something special and they are worth investing in for the future. Another comment, "I think you do know your customer, and Carnival's target audience isn't 60 plus, so if that person has an issue with this, they can find somewhere else that better suits them." One person said 60 plus isn't the target, but should not be left out either. So those of us in our 50s who are pushing 60s are supposed to cruise where? And that's obviously a response to Heald saying we're not doing this. We're not gonna replace these smaller ships. And another one, "Sorry, not a fan, too many people, too many lines, and when you get off in port, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's no wonder ports don't want cruise ships anymore. Carnival really needs to consider having at least 1 or 2 ships with limits on the amount of kids. Not saying no kids, but those big ships are overrun with unsupervised kids that are running wild. I love the smaller ships, definitely don't need water slides and roller coasters." And this is just part of the thing. Everybody's got an opinion. I don't know. Maybe we're at the point where if you really want the smaller ships, it's time to try another line out. So basically, Carnival cruisers who prefer smaller ships are either going to need to adjust to the larger ships or switch lines. And the lines that are still building smaller ships cost more than Carnival. And the same is true for Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. They just aren't building replacements for their older, smaller ships. And I think people just need to realize it's not going to happen. We can dream about it. It's not going to happen. So maybe this is why it's not a good idea to invest all your loyalty in one line. Those who are Diamond and Platinum with Carnival are invested and less likely to switch lines than someone who has a lower loyalty level. Even though Carnival has some of the least beneficial loyalty perks, in my opinion, many still don't want to have to start over with a new loyalty program. I'm just gold on Carnival, which only gets me a free large bottle of water and a loyalty pin, and I still cringe just a little bit at the thought of starting all over again with every new line I try out. So what is your favorite size of ship? Do you prefer the larger ships and all they have to offer, or the smaller ships to provide a more intimate experience? Let me know in the comments and let me know why. Well, as loyal viewers know, I go in for surgery in a few days. I have spent the last week organizing and cleaning the house so I can just relax when I get home. This will be the first time I have had to spend the night in the hospital since I was too young to remember. I think I'm more nervous about that than the surgery itself, even though it is going to be a complicated surgery to some degree. Now, I already know I'm not going to get any sleep. And that's not just because I expect nurses to be coming in and checking on me all night long, but I rarely sleep well in strange places. Plus, I just hate being in situations that I cannot control or at least research, so I know what to expect. So it just kind of, my anxiety level's kind of high about just that whole experience. Now, I'm not sure how much time I will need to take off from posting videos as I recoup. Hopefully it will go better than my last surgery recovery. I just could not sit up straight, so I couldn't just sit here and work on filming videos for a long time. That was really the problem. I do have one video ready for next week. I'm hoping to get another one done in the next couple of days before I go into surgery. So I have a couple waiting in the wings. But after that, we're just going to have to see. Well, are you ready for more information on cruising? Why not stick around and check out this video and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.